This one cuts deep, guys. Rest in peace, George Foreman. Amazing character, incredible fighter, tremendous punching power. Like, George Foreman's history is such an important part of boxing history that it needs to be praised. He needs to get all the credit he deserves. Like, if you want to talk about resilience, if you put resilience here, you need to put George Foreman's name here. Like, George Foreman is the personification of resilience. To be able to take that defeat against Muhammad Ali in Africa, in Zaire, Congo, the Rumble in the Jungle, and to go into ministry, become a pastor, and then come back years and years and years later to win the heavyweight champion at the age of 45, to become the oldest heavyweight champion ever, is an incredible legacy. It's an incredible achievement. And I think we're not going to be able to see anyone do that in a very long time, because it's so hard to achieve. And that is why when you talk about resilience, George Foreman is up there. The legacy that George Foreman leaves behind is amazing. I mean, in the 60s and 70s, George Foreman played a part in creating and molding and bringing boxing to the limelight. If you want to talk about some of the hardest hitting heavyweight, some of the most incredibly feared heavyweight, some of the most intimidating heavyweight, George Foreman's name is there. If you want to talk about the fact that fighters like Sonny Liston, hard hitting, feared, intimidating, George Foreman, up there. If you want to talk about Ernie Shavers, hits like a truck, incredible punching power, gave Muhammad Ali all sort of trouble. Ernie Shavers, elusive knockout. George Foreman is there. If you want to talk about punching power, Mike Tyson, George Foreman is up there. George Foreman's legacy is beautiful. And as a boxing fan and as a George Foreman fan, I feel like I'll be doing the sport a disservice if I don't come out here and give George Foreman all the respect and you know, the glory that he deserves. I mean, look at George Foreman's record. 76-5-0. 68 knockouts. 68 knockouts out of 76 fights. George Foreman is what boxing wants to see. George Foreman was what boxing fans wanted to see. And that is someone that will get in there, seek and destroy. Someone that will get in there and do a job on the other fighter. I never met George Foreman. I wish I did, because, you know, every time that I've seen George Foreman give an interview, he's been so magnanimous. He's so happy. He's always smiling, and he seemed as though he had so much respect for Muhammad Ali. And you can imagine, both fighters are so pivotal in boxing history. Both fighters, you know, were a massive part of boxing history with what happened between them in the Rumble in the Jungle in Zaire, Africa. And that is one of the most memorable moments in boxing, and George Foreman is at the center of that. That is the legacy that George Foreman leaves behind. So if you ever met George Foreman, guys, please get in the comment section. Let me know how your interaction with George Foreman was, if you ever did, because I never did and I wish I did. So let me know in the comment section how you encountered George Foreman and what sort of person he was in person. You know, because I think it would be really great to hear and to see. Look, talk about great fights that George Foreman being part of. that Joe Frazier fight was incredible. Joe Frazier had given Muhammad Ali so much trouble in the trilogy. George Foreman gets in there and absolutely destroys Joe Frazier in 2 rounds, which was the fight that went on to set up the Rumble in the Jungle. To come back to win the heavyweight champion at the age of 45, amazing. Look, George Foreman deserves all the credit. My condolences to his family, and I think, look, he's done so much for boxing. He's done so much in boxing. He's left such a incredible legacy and deserves all the respect and all the credit. Guys, do me a favor. Show some respect. Put in the comment section, rest in peace, George Foreman. God bless.